Hello and welcome to this tutorial number 7. In this tutorial we are going to look at how to add controls to the form and also how to add or how to make a form appear as a pop-up. Remember, in this case the form still remains as an object in the database, but when you are making it to appear, it appears quite as an independent object. And now let's take a look at how we can do that. Now here is our previous form that we created for Light Academy. We already had a table created in this database, and we also had a form created in this database. Those are the two objects that we have. But now our main interest is how to add the controls to this form. And remember, I told you that before you add anything to the form, or anything that you add to the form has to be added from what we call the design view. So we take our form to design view, and that's how it appears. So we are going to add the controls that we are talking about. In the first place, I'll just go and minimize this form to a very small area like that, and then I go ahead and pick the controls. Now the controls we're going to have, fine, all these are called controls, but I want us to add buttons specifically. Now let's start picking buttons to add to our form and see how our form will appear. So we pick a button, we come and draw it down here. When you draw that button, a command wizard is going to appear. This wizard here contains several categories, and each category having various actions that can be assigned to this button. For instance, we have the record navigation. This one means the button is going to be used to navigate through the records in your table. Then we have what we call the record operation, to work on the records, for instance, adding a new record, deleting a record. We have what we call the form operations, for instance, closing a form, opening a form. We have the report operations. Now this one goes to the reports. We have the application and miscellaneous. Now let's look at how to add actions to these commands. For instance, let's start by looking at the navigation or the record navigation category and then its actions. Well, supposing we wanted to make this button here be a button to take us to the previous record, we come and select previous, go to previous record, then we click next. Now here we give this one, it's just going to be a text, and in that case we shall just call it previous. Then we go next, and the command is going to be previous still, but even if you don't put that there anyway, there is nothing that can change. So we finish, and there our command button is. So we go and pick another button, maybe from another category. So we go and draw it as well, and maybe let's say this is going to be a record operation, or let's first take it maybe to a record navigation and maybe assign it to go to the next button. So we come to next, it's going to be a text here, and I'm just going to call it next. That implies it's taking us to the next record, and then the command is simply next, and then I finish. Then I pick another record, another button, and I want this one to do another job. Maybe let's say it's a record operation. It's for maybe for adding a new record. So we click on that. Then I'm just going to call it new to represent the word add new record. Next, it's still new, and then I finish. So that's that command there. Then I want to add another button, so I draw it there like that. Maybe this one is going to be a form operation. Then I choose maybe close form, then go to next. I'll just call it close. I'll call it close. Go to next, close, and then finish. So those are 4 buttons that have been added, and each button is in a different category. I mean, we wanted to see how they work. Then the last thing we looked at, we said we are going to also make this form appear as a pop-up object. And how do we do this? We go to property sheet. Property sheet, we want to work on the form. So we click in the form. Remember, when you click on any of the objects on the form, it brings the commands for that particular object. But now we click on the form and we come and choose all the commands from the form, and then we come and look for the word pop up. I come and choose option yes. That implies we are going to make it appear as a pop-up. Then I go to view. When I go to view my form, that's now how the form appears. Now we want to see whether these buttons we've added are actually working. So we come to next. You can see that we've gone to the next. This is record 2 of 9. Next, record 3. Next, record 4. Previous, record 3. Previous, record 2. New, it brings a blank form, which is record 10 of 10. Remember, we had 9 records previously. Then when I go to close, it prompts me to save the changes made on the form. Then I save, and there my form closes. That means our buttons are working very well. When I open this form, it now opens as a pop-up. This is what we call the pop-up. And that brings us to the end of this tutorial. Our objectives have been achieved. Thanks for watching, and let's wait for the next tutorial. Now, just before we leave it, before we go off, the same can be done to a report. And that's how we add the buttons to a form or a report. Thanks for watching.